When it comes to GOATs in the hobby, what defines what a player's value is to his team, his fan base, and general sports fans or sports card fans in general? Let's get into it. Earlier today, I watched a video from Neo Cards and Comics talking about how Patrick Mahomes cards, even though he had won his third Super Bowl in 4 tries, were actually kind of stagnant and not that much up year over year. Now they are up maybe 20%, but for the most part, they're pretty stagnant. It got me wondering, when it comes to people that are the GOAT status, in front of me you have somebody who I would consider GOAT status, at least as far as shooters go, Stephen Curry, probably the greatest shooter of all time, at least as we stand today in the NBA. He can always be surpassed by maybe his son, or maybe somebody else comes along and is even better than he is. We're going to look at a couple of guys between basketball and football who've won multiple titles, who I would consider as the GOAT status, talk about their flagship rookie in general, the one that everybody wants to own, the iconic card. You get the picture. So, Patrick Mahomes, PSA 10 Silver Prism, is sitting right around $4,000. At its heyday, I think that card, if I'm not mistaken, was around $7,500. And then it got down to about $2,800, maybe $3,500. Now it's sitting right around $4,000, and that sort of seems like a glass ceiling. Now, I know Neo Cards and Comics talked about how there's only so many buyers in the market. I want to make a separate video on that. I think when it comes to spending money in the sports card hobby, how many people are really out there spending $4,000 on a single card? Now, maybe that would be smarter than some of the things I've done in the past, where I've ripped product on the channel, I've graded product on the channel, I've speculated on players. Lord knows if I didn't do all of those mistakes, I could probably afford a PSA 10 Silver Prism rookie of Patrick Mahomes, but I don't have one in the collection. I'm okay with that, and I probably won't ever have one. But if I wanted one, I would have to plan well in advance for how to acquire one, because the easy money in the hobby just isn't there. So we'll make a separate video about that at a future date. So Patrick Mahomes, I was wondering, how many of the PSA 10 copies of that Silver Prism actually exist? As of the recording of this video, there are 938 of them. So market cap, Ziggy No talked a lot about market cap. I know that Card Ladder talks about market cap. Probably SCI talks about market cap. I don't think it's really a thing, because if all 938 of those cards went up for sale on the same day, I don't think they'd all sell for $4,000. They'd probably sell the first couple for $4,000. Then you'd probably have some sales for $3,800. You get the picture. They would all kind of escalate down until 938 people were interested in deploying money into Patrick Mahomes cards. So, for the sake of calibration, though, we will take those 938 cards and call them a steady value of $4,000. So the total upward potential of all Silver Prism PSA 10 Patrick Mahomes cards is about $3.7 million. Now, I know that's not a true market cap, but hear me out on this one. $3.7 million, and that's pretty much considered his iconic rookie card, like his Michael Jordan 1986 Fleer type rookie card, his Topps 2009 Steph Curry rookie card, the 2003-2004 Topps Chrome LeBron James rookie card, the Bowman Chrome Brady rookie card. I looked at some of those other cards, and I wanted to see how many copies in PSA 10 exist relative to each player. It was really interesting to look at the data. Let me tell you, it kind of opened my eyes a bit for where the money is and where the potential is, depending on whether a certain player could win another title in his career or not. So $3.7 million. Looking at Tom Brady, his Bowman Chrome PSA 10 rookie, which had a massive spike during his 7 title run, currently has a population of 1,150 according to the PSA population report. Now, I know that's just PSA. That doesn't include BGS, SGC, CGC. You get the picture. But I'm just going to calibrate it off of PSA just for the sake of simplicity. I could get very, very into the weeds on this one. I'd rather not do that. But currently, the sales price on those is hovering right around $7,000. So the Brady Bowman Chrome, arguably, if all of them sold for $7,000, would be a total cap of about $8 million. So more than 2x where Patrick Mahomes' Silver Prism is in terms of overall upward mobility. Switching over to basketball, though, we'll start at the bottom. Stephen Curry. Now, many of you remember the 2009 card was, I think, when they were in between licenses between Topps and Panini, or maybe around that time frame. There are very, very few PSA 10 copies of Stephen Curry's rookie in that Topps card, especially the flagship paper. It had a black back. Very tough to grade. I own a PSA 9 copy. I don't have a PSA 10. I couldn't afford it at the time. Prices have come down, but there are only 370 PSA 10 base paper card of Stephen Curry's rookie. And right now they're selling for about $6,000 each. So that would yield that the maximum that that card would have is about $2.2 million. There's obviously choice in the market. Again, for simplicity's sake, I don't really want to go there. Curry's won 4 titles. Mahomes has won 3, but Curry's value of his PSA 10 flagship rookie is actually lower than Mahomes, which is kind of funny. But that's neither here nor there, even though the sales price is higher. So think about that one for a second. Then we'll get into at the end, when it comes to fan base, and just for context in sports cards, it's really interesting. If most sports fans were sports card fans, things would look vastly different in terms of the overall interest level for the cards that are actually available to purchase. So switching over to LeBron James now, 2,285 of his PSA 10 Chrome 2003-2004 Topps card exists. Current sales price on that's about $4,600, so about $9.1 million of max value there. MJ, Michael Jordan, 323 PSA 10s, 150K, I think, was the latest sale. Now, obviously, there's ebbs and flows depending on the cleanliness of the copy, the rank and order or whatever. But for simplicity's sake, we'll just call it an even 150. $48.5 million for an MJ rookie in terms of where I think the upward potential is on that card. He's done and dusted. Obviously, he's not playing anymore. Many of these other guys are still playing, except for Brady and MJ. So, looking at those basketball players, you'd say, Steph Curry, wow, people really don't respect his rookie card relative to LeBron James. Well, it does sell for more, but there are far, far fewer of them available. And so that kind of spreads it out a little bit, because I think some people just aren't willing to deploy that much money into a single card. So where do I think the PSA 10, going back to my original point, Patrick Mahomes, Silver Prism, currently selling for $4,000, just won his 3rd title. If you look at the other cards, you look at what's available, where do you think this card is in terms of its max potential future value? Does it feel like a $4,600 card compared to like maybe a LeBron James? LeBron James has 4 titles. Patrick Mahomes has 3. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to win at least one more in his future, unless Andy Reid retires and the team completely implodes, in which case he'd be steady at 3. But he's a gamer. Never bet against Patrick Mahomes ever again. I learned my lesson 2 years ago. I bet on him this year because I was smart, and I said, there's no way that guy is going to lose, even though I wanted the Bills to win because I wanted somebody different. But I digress. And so I think looking at that iconic card of Patrick Mahomes Silver Prism, now there are some other cards that you could purchase. You could purchase the Optic Holo. You could purchase a color match, as Neo Cards and Comics says. All of them good choices. But if you want the iconic one, the one that made Patrick Mahomes, probably the Silver Prism, most iconic. Where do I think that card goes? Does it go all the way up to Brady? Because Brady won 7 titles and was at 10 Super Bowls. So he's double where Mahomes is right now. Mahomes would have to be at 6 and 8 before he could probably sniff, whatever, $7,000 a card. I'm just going to speculate and say that probably doesn't happen. Then looking at, let's say, a LeBron James. That's a $4,600 card right now. And there's about twice as many of those than a Patrick Mahomes Silver Prism. Now, that's a chrome base card. That's not a refractor or anything like that. But he has 4 titles. He's been to 9, I think 9 or 10 championship finals appearances. He obviously is a very polarizing figure, but that's $4,600 card. So I feel like in the end, if Patrick Mahomes wins 5 or 6 Super Bowls and goes to 8 or 9, depending on what happens, that card to me in the future is either between a $7,000 card and a $5,000 card. That's just my guess. I don't think it's a $10,000 or $20,000 card. That's just my guess. I could be completely wrong, but one thing we have to remember, the number of people that watched the Super Bowl this year was 143 million people, according to the ratings. The number of people that attend a single home game for the Kansas City Chiefs is 76,000 people. That means Patrick Mahomes' Silver Prism PSA 10 exists for 1 in every 82 people that attend a single Chiefs game. That doesn't sound like a lot. 938 might seem like a lot, but it's really not. And so if all future Chiefs fans, instead of buying their season tickets and buying their apparel and buying this and buying that, all wanted to deploy the money into the Patrick Mahomes Silver Prism PSA 10 rookie card, of course that card would go up in value. So that's the ultimate question when I think about future values of GOATs. Do the fan bases eventually want to collect the piece of paper as part of a memorabilia or a memento of that player's time to kind of capture that memory? Or do you have a favorite player or something like that? I'm very, very curious where this goes. I know we saw the peak of all peaks during the pandemic. We'll probably never see that again. But it's really interesting to think about where the future value may reside in this card and whether or not it's worth buying to deploy $4,000 on that card when there's so much risk still yet to come. The card could certainly go down too, because if he never wins another Super Bowl and he's stuck at 3, that card's probably not a $4,000 card. It's probably a $2,500 card. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know that was kind of a ramble, but I wanted to just kind of look at 5 GOATs in basketball and football: Curry, LeBron, MJ, Mahomes, and Brady. Some of them have varying degrees of GOAT status, but I was very curious how much money goes around for their iconic rookie card. And it looks like, in order, MJ, LeBron, Brady, Mahomes, Curry, in terms of where the money goes. But that could always change. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know in the comments down below if you were going to buy, which one would you buy? And I'll see you in the next video.